A question came up recently that, well, it really made us stop and think.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
It's this. Can India, with its huge rural population, actually become the world's first AI-ready rural economy?
Wow. Yeah, that does sound counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Totally. I mean, you hear AI, you think shiny city labs, right? Not necessarily uh, villages and farms.
But that's exactly the idea we've been digging into. It's not just about, parachuting in some tech.
Right.
It's more about weaving AI into the very fabric of the rural economy, reshaping things for, well, a massive number of people, a real bottom-up approach.
Exactly. And the vision painted in the source material we looked at is pretty compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Think drones, yeah, but for farming,
Yeah.
helping with crops, or AI predicting market prices right there in the local bazaar.
And digital payments, even in tiny village shops in places like Bihar, it paints quite a picture.
It really does. And the scale. We have to talk about the scale.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about, what, 65% of India's population?
Yeah, something like 900 million people living in rural areas.
Just pause on that number, 900 million. That's more than the US and Russia combined. It's huge.
And right now, a lot of their economic life farming, small businesses, local markets, it's largely informal, right? Often without much data, hard to access things.
Precisely. And the argument is that AI could actually change that dramatically, turn that data scarcity into an information-rich environment.
So how would that even work? The sources mentioned sort of a framework, didn't they?
Yes, they talked about 3 key pillars needed to build this AI-ready rural economy. The first one, maybe the most obvious, is data infrastructure.
Okay, data. Makes sense.
You need the raw material for AI to work with. And look, progress has been made.
Like with internet access, Geo, Botnet.
Exactly. Those initiatives have pushed connectivity out further, which is, step one. But the real gold mine, according to the source, is the data that isn't being captured yet.
What kinds of stuff are we talking about?
Think about soil sensors sending back live data, hyperlocal weather stations, digitizing health records from the village clinic, tracking market prices accurately, even school attendance data.
Okay. So you gather all this data. Then what?
Well, that's where the AI comes in. Imagine a farmer getting advice not just for the region, but for their specific plot, based on soil type, weather forecasts, even what the market's likely to want.
That's super personalized.
Right. Or AI tools in the local primary health center helping with early diagnosis. When specialists are far away, that could be massive.
Yeah, potentially life-saving. And you mentioned governance, too.
The idea of data dashboards for the Gram Panchayat, the local village council, giving them real-time info to make better decisions about resources or services.
Okay, so pillar 1 is the data foundation. What's next?
Pillar 2 builds right on top of that. AI-driven tools. Tools actually designed for the specific problems faced at the grassroots level.
Gotcha. Not just generic AI, but stuff made for rural India.
Exactly. And there are some interesting examples starting to emerge, though many are still pilots.
Like what?
One mention was something called Kisan GPT.
Kisan GPT.
Yeah.
Like Chat GPT for farmers.
Sort of. But crucially, designed to work in local dialects. Imagine asking it about market rates or seed quality or pesticide advice and getting an answer in your own language.
Wow, that breaks down a huge barrier.
It really could. And think about connecting that to government initiatives like Pashini.
Oh, the translation project, voice to text and stuff.
Yeah, Madi's project. If you combine AI translation with these specialized tools, you make information accessible even if literacy is a challenge.
That's powerful. What else?
There's also talk about combining the AgriStack, that's the digital framework for farm data, with AI and satellite imaging.
To do what? Improve yields.
Improve land productivity, basically. Analyzing farm data, satellite views. It could really optimize things. But again, the source stresses these are often early stages.
Right, pilot projects.
Yeah.
But the potential, if they scale up.
Exactly. Which leads directly to the third pillar, last mile enablement.
Okay, last mile enablement. What does that mean in practice?
It means making sure this tech actually reaches people and that they can use it. Because having great tools is pointless if they're inaccessible.
And there are challenges there, right? Like not everyone has a smartphone or knows how to use apps easily.
For sure. Digital literacy gaps are real. The source talks about needing to go beyond just digital India to create an AI India.
AI India, so like training and support.
Precisely. One idea floated is having AI kiosks in villages.
Kiosks.
Yeah, with trained local people, they called them AI Safi, AI companions.
AI companions, I like that.
And these companions could help people with Practical things, applying for credit online using an AI tool, understanding an AI-generated weather forecast, accessing government schemes.
So it's about human support alongside the tech.
Absolutely. The source makes a strong point. Without this enablement, AI just stays an elite buzzword. It doesn't actually change lives on the ground.
That makes total sense. But, okay, it sounds like a massive undertaking. Does India actually have what it takes to pull this off? The source seemed optimistic.
It did. It highlighted some unique advantages India has, things that maybe other countries don't have quite in the same way.
Like what? The digital infrastructure.
Exactly. That whole stack, Aadhaar for digital ID, UPI for payments, Yandan for bank accounts. It's the world's biggest digital public infrastructure, essentially.
A ready-made platform.
A huge one. Plus, India's already shown it can build and scale other big digital public systems. Think COIN for vaccines or DigiLocker for documents.
Right, they have a track record there.
And then there's the people aspect. India has this massive young population in rural areas.
Who are increasingly online with smartphones.
Yep, and generally eager for opportunities, adaptable to new tech. It's fertile ground.
So the infrastructure is there, the people are receptive.
And imagine the source poses this: what if you had a really smart AI, like a ChatGPT level tool, but it could truly understand and respond in local languages? Bhojpuri, Kannada, Odia?
That would be game-changing. True democratization of AI, like the source said.
Exactly, bringing that power beyond just English or major global languages.
Okay, so India has these internal strengths.
Yeah.
But what about the rest of the world? Isn't everyone else racing ahead with AI?
Well, yes and no. There's huge investment globally, for sure. China, the US, the EU, they're all pouring money into AI.
Right. So where does India fit?
The source points out that a lot of that global focus is on, well, different areas: defense, high-end healthcare, fintech, smart cities, urban stuff.
Ah, okay. Less focus on rural applications.
Generally, yes. And that's where India's unique opportunity lies, according to the material, to deliberately adopt a rural-first AI strategy.
Carve out a niche.
More than a niche, a potentially world-leading position focused on its own majority population. And if India cracks this,
What then?
the ripple effects could be huge. Imagine India exporting these rural tech frameworks, models for AI in agriculture, health, local governance.
To other countries facing similar challenges.
Yeah, think parts of Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America, the global south. India could become not just an AI power, but maybe an AI for good leader.
That's a really interesting strategic angle. Is any of this actually happening yet, though? Are there concrete examples on the ground?
Yes, definitely. It's not all theoretical. The source gives several examples.
Okay, let's see on.
There's a company called Stelleps using AI in the dairy supply chain,
Dairy.
managing milk collection, checking quality, using sensors and AI, optimizing the cold storage chain, all in rural areas.
Interesting. What else?
The EakStep Foundation is working on AI-powered learning tools for rural schools.
Okay, education.
And collaborations like NABARD, the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, working with IBM Watson on pilots for crop pattern analytics.
So finance and tech working together.
And it's not just specialized players. Big Indian companies are getting involved too.
Oh, like woo.
Reliance, Tata, HCL. They're apparently exploring and deploying AI for agriculture, for rural small businesses, MSMEs, for logistics in these areas.
That's significant. When the big players move in.
It signals a shift, right? It suggests this isn't just a niche experiment anymore. There's serious commercial and strategic interest building.
So it feels like the pieces are starting to come together, maybe.
It seems that way. Which brings us back to that big overarching question the source material poses.
Which is?
Will India just be another country building AI, or will it create something genuinely inspirational? A model for inclusive development powered by this tech?
Yeah, when you think about the potential impact on those 900 million rural citizens, it's huge.
Can you picture it? Villages in UP or Bihar or Odisha becoming, in a way, AI labs, test beds for innovation that benefits everyone.
It reframes the whole thing, doesn't it? Not just tech, but nation building, as the source put it.
And that closing line from the source really sticks with you.
Remind me.
It asks, basically, if AI's future is going to be inclusive, then maybe its capital isn't Bangalore or the Bay Area.
But places like Banda, Begusarai, Bellary, smaller towns, rural hubs.
Exactly. And then it lands the final question. The world's first AI-ready rural economy. Why not India?
It's quite a vision. A really provocative thought to end on.
It really is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it really leaves you thinking, doesn't it,
Yeah.
about this massive potential.
Yeah, harnessing something as advanced as AI, but aiming it squarely at empowering a population that's often been, well, underserved by technology.
It's a fascinating tension.
And it makes you wonder, beyond India, what if this model actually works? What if other places start designing tech with this kind of radical inclusivity right from the start?
What kinds of possibilities open up then, globally?
Exactly. It's not just about the tech itself, but the whole approach, the ethical side, the societal impact. Definitely something to mull over.
For sure. Lots to think about there.